Well, good morning, Ian.
Good morning, John.
Man, nice to have you with us. And you and I, we've known each other a long time. We go way back.
That's right. Probably almost a decade now.
I know. I can't believe either one of us is that old.
We don't look it, I hope.
No. Well, by way of a formal introduction, Ian Satterfield, one of my dear friends, and we've known each other, as we mentioned, for a long time. He's now with Condor Realty and Development. So we're going to talk about that. And the whole purpose of this podcast, Ian, and to those that will be listening, is to discuss the mindset of a champion. What sets you apart? And as we're going to find out what sets you apart and how you even got into real estate, and you have another exciting field that you started in and you're still playing as well as a professional athlete. But we'll get to know you there, and then I look forward to sending you referrals, people that
thanks,
can work with you, and you'll earn their trust and everything. So let's talk about you. Let's talk about your professional beach volleyball. That's where I knew you. That's where everything started. How'd you get into playing pro ball?
Yeah. I started playing volleyball when I was 12 years old. Grew up in Manhattan Beach, so naturally, being my height and build,
Right.
It was going to be basketball and volleyball in 7th grade. And luckily for me, both my parents had grown up in the area and also played volleyball. So I made my first youth national team when I was 14 years old and continued to do the junior indoor program every year until college. And then during the summer, I would be home and playing beach volleyball with my friends or in tournaments, winning all the CBVA and youth AAU tournaments.
I remember those.
Yeah. So from there, I played indoor college at Division I Long Beach State.
Mm-hmm.
And I made the transition from being on the indoor team to trying out for the USA Beach team.
Mm-hmm.
I participated in the under-21s team and had my first international beach volleyball tournament in 2011.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Can't even believe it's that far back, Ian.
Yeah, me neither.
Seems like yesterday.
It's crazy to think about. Yeah, it was such a cool experience. We got to play in the FIVB Junior World Championships up in Halifax, Canada. And, man, it was also cool because Sarah Hughes was on the women's side, I guess girls' side, because she was so young, but still just playing above the level of competition for that age group.
Yes.
So impressive. But that was my first international beach tournament, so back in 2011. And then my first big international tournament was 2015 with Miles Evans.
Oh, yeah.
We played in the Pan American Games.
It's huge.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know what the Pan American Games is, it's the second largest sporting event in the world behind the Olympics. It's basically the Olympics, but for North, Central, and South America. And it's an Olympic qualifying tournament for a lot of sports. So it's really cool to experience what it's like to basically have the Olympic experience, just a taste of it. Luckily for Miles, he's had both. He's had the Pan American Games and now the Olympics. So cool, and proof that the USA program does work.
And you guys have been friends for a long time. I know.
Yeah,
Thick as thieves, man.
Man, we played against each other in college, and as much as you think about these school rivalries in Division I volleyball, most of the time we're hanging out after the matches.
Yeah. That's so cool. So now here, you fast forward from your college career, and you've been playing beach on during your summers and all that stuff. But what was the turning point that said, you know what, I'm going pro? I'm going to stay with like Pan Am Games and things like that. What? Obviously, you had the physique for it, you had the skills, but something switched where you said, I'm doing this. I'm going for it.
Right. Yeah. I was ready to not give it a try after I didn't get an indoor contract overseas out of college. So I was like, I'm going to work downtown LA. I worked for a commercial real estate firm called Avis and Young.
Oh, yeah.
I was a marketing coordinator for them.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went to Long Beach and got my undergrad in marketing. So I didn't think maybe that I was going to end up here, but I guess I kind of always was working in some sort of real estate related field throughout my career.
It was in your blood.
I guess so, yeah. When one of your dad's best friends is a realtor and he's a cool dude, I guess you kind of look up to them. And so, yeah, I did that downtown LA rush hour traffic, suit and tie cubicle thing. And I learned that just wasn't what I wanted to do.
That's not me.
Yeah, and so I had opportunities at the same time to continue to play beach volleyball at the pro level, play internationally, and I was like, man, I got to do whatever it takes so that I can keep doing that.
Yeah.
I had so many friends that were in accounting and finance, and they were just like, sure, we do have maybe more stable jobs and income, but we love that you get to pursue your passion and compete at such a high level. Do that as long as you can, because you can do what we're doing when your career is over.
Sure.
So that was kind of the pivotal point, was like, okay, I tried the rush hour 9 to 5, couldn't do it. So now I'm going to do whatever it takes to just make the pro career happen. And so 2016 was my first full season on the AVP.
2016. Yeah, I remember, and just fond memories of watching you, Miles, and some of these other younger athletes come out and just absolutely make an immediate impact on the game. And it's I'm a pro beach volleyball referee too, so and a lot of folks know that, but it's every once in a while, there's some special people that step out on the sand. They not only have the skills of a tremendous athlete, but they also have the interpersonal skills. And Ian, that describes you. You've always been more than professional on any sand you've stepped on, where I've been and where my fellow referees have been. And we don't always agree on the call, but you have such a respectful way of inquiring to say, hey, John, you sure? You sure about that? Or, you know what? Respectfully, we agree to disagree. You have set the standard for what athletes really should look like out there. Compete hard, play hard, but show true professionalism throughout the whole match, and not just on the court, but off the court. And so I thought I'd mention that, and everybody that knows you, anybody that knows you, knows that what I'm speaking is true. So,
well, John, I am very grateful for those kind words. What you guys do up there is so difficult. I mean, we have pressure as the athletes, but you might even have more pressure up there on the stand, because you're not just hearing it from the athletes, but you're hearing it from the fans.
That was horrible!
Right. Man, and, you guys don't get enough credit, because you have to have a certain kind of personality to do that, and to be able to still enjoy your job and doing what you do with a passion. And it shows through your communication, and even just like your frame when you're out there on the court. So for me, it's an easy thing to communicate with you guys, and I look at it as like a thing of gratitude, because without you guys, who knows what we would have to do, ref our own games or something. And that's tough for us to do, because we want to be, game planning, scouting, doing rest and recovery, just preparing for the next one, instead of being out there in the hot sun all day like you guys. It's tough. So
it can be, yeah, of course. And the beautiful thing about the beach game, as you know and experience, is it's a different animal. It's a lifestyle sport, right? So we might, have our differences on the court sometimes, or sometimes things get heated, whatever. But as soon as that's over, we might go have a beer together. Right. We go chat, and it's like we're a tight knit group across the country, actually across the world, in beach volleyball. It's such a small, wonderful community. And so it's been a pleasure to meet you on that front, to watch you grow and develop into who you are today. And now you've taken on this you started in real estate doing some marketing stuff, which is awesome. And now you've almost come full circle. Can you tell us a little bit about how you jumped back into the real estate side?
Yeah, for sure. So I dropped the real estate thing back in around 2014, 2015. Then back in 2020, I got back into the real estate world, but this time as an agent. I worked for Lyons Stahl, a multifamily or commercial real estate firm up in the South Bay in Long Beach. And I worked for a really good friend of mine, Chris Van Buren, who's it's probably someone you should have on this podcast. Really good.
Yeah,
really
Chris,
good
we're
guy.
coming after you.
So I worked for them for about 6 months. Unfortunately, the timing was right when COVID hit. So I was doing cold calls. We were supposed to be doing 300 cold calls a day. I was top caller in the company for a month or two. And then when COVID hit, it was tough because a lot of the landlords were unsure of what they wanted to do. Do we keep? Do we try to sell? We're not really sure. At the same time, California was making a lot of new proposed legislation about being very tenant friendly and oriented. And so it kind of doubled down with the whole COVID protocol and not being able to evict people. And so it was really tough. And meanwhile, the buy side, they were like, we're going to wait till prices drop.
Absolutely. Wait it out.
Yeah. So I got a taste of it. I stayed through about June. And then after that, I had an opportunity to go to the East Coast and play volleyball in some professional tournaments for about 4 months. And it was a really sweet gig. And coming from California, where everything was closed, including the beaches.
Right.
The mental morale of California seemed very down.
It was.
And so I had this opportunity to pursue my passion yet again, right? 2014, 2015 Pan Ams, and now 2020, 2021, this opportunity on the East Coast. We ended up playing in 8 tournaments. We won half of them.
Amazing.
And from there, that kind of reignited my beach volleyball spark, even though it's like I was never done playing.
Right.
But this got me back on the horse. And so I left Lyons Stahl in June and began to travel. The 2022, I played an indoor professional season in India where we won the championship. And so I've been traveling a lot, playing a lot of volleyball, and I had a self-limiting belief at the time that I needed to be physically present in order to be a real estate agent in my community. So because of that self-limiting belief, and because I was gone so much, I did not think that it was a good idea for me to pursue that. Whether or not that was true, I wouldn't.
Yeah, it was up here. You believed it to be true.
Right. Since meeting my current girlfriend, she has opened my eyes to a lot of things. And one of them is being able to still pursue being a real estate agent while still competing and traveling.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to building those relationships with people and just letting them know what you do. And then eventually it all comes back if you provide enough value in whatever way it is. We all have certain gifts. And so being able to find what that gift is and being able to share that with others is really one of the most important things you can do.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, you mentioned your girlfriend. I completely understand that because when my wife, I share things with my wife and I say, here's how my day went. And, we're talking. And sometimes she's telling me, she's like, John, I know you can do it. And I'm thinking, babe, I have 15,000 things I'm juggling. I can't take one more thing on. She goes, I believe in you. I know you can do this. And if you do this, you'll find that it will benefit you, but it'll benefit other people. And so listening to the ladies that are in our lives that have our best interest at heart, it's been good for me too. you know? Well, you brought up a point where self-limiting beliefs, that comes back to mindset so strongly. And one of the reasons why I did start this podcast was to help draw out of people the inner champion mindset, because I've seen you ferociously show that example on the court as a champion. And now as you move in also adding real estate and helping other people and families, it takes a team. When you realize, this was my realization, that I had self-limiting beliefs too, because I was traveling all over with the AVP. How could I stay home and do loans properly? How could I do real estate? Any of that? There's no way. So I just kind of said, I'll just go travel. And I let my passion for helping people in the mortgage business kind of die. And I took about a 2-year hiatus on that, which was a mistake looking back. But now I look at it and say, wait a minute, it takes a village. It takes a team to help people. Mm-hmm. So if I happen to be out on that court doing something, I have a wonderful team behind me that I could ask to follow. Could you follow on this? Could you follow on that? Right. And the client is getting what they need. Do you find that approach to be valuable too?
Yeah, I think, talking about mindset, it goes from maybe something that becomes selfless from something that was maybe somewhat selfish. And so like, I can't do this because, and it's like, if now it's all of a sudden the focus is helping others, your mind starts to think, how can I do this? And for some reason, when we're in it in ourselves, we have a tendency to let these negative thoughts bring us down. Yeah. But I think, continuously reminding yourself that it's not about you. If you try to make it about servicing others, then it's almost like selfish of you to not do it.
That is so well said, Ian. Absolutely. And I think about, your routine as a professional athlete. You have a certain routine that you do, training purposes, all of that. And it's not just physical. I know there's a mental, there's strategy, there's all of that to it. Now when you come into real estate, I wanted to ask you, what does the mindset or having the mindset of a champion look like to you? And how does that affect your daily activity, your daily efforts to help people?
Well, John, that's a great question. The mindset of a champion to me comes down to being resilient, adaptable, and committed to excellence. So, I try to hold myself to a high standard and then just work tirelessly to meet those goals. Being proactive, studying market trends, staying up to date with continuous education. I mentioned to you on the phone, I've been going to a lot of classes that our association has been putting on, and even yesterday there was a social media marketing webinar.
Awesome.
They have a lot of stuff with the latest rules and regulations, like rent price gouging with the fires in the house, all this stuff. And so just trying to stay up to date and proactive with these things. And then also, being committed to excellence, what that looks like every day, waking up with like a clear plan and focus, setting some sort of daily goal, and then you have the weekly goal, more long-term stuff. So, the continuous education and just trying to be regimented with some goal-oriented actions every day.
Oh, that describes you. That describes you because I know you. And, I had a mentor. I still have a mentor that he asks me sometimes, what does your perfect day look like? what does your perfect week look like? What is your perfect month, your perfect year? And the point of it is nobody's perfect. We're never going to do anything perfectly. But what would it look like? And something that's quantifiable, measurable goals, right? Beach volleyball, maybe it's, 100 push-ups that each day, whatever it is. And I'm building to this. I can build, maybe it's squats, maybe it's sprints, lunges, whatever it is. And then it's cutties. You're practicing cut shots, however many of those a day, it's measurable. Yeah, I did 35 of them today. Same thing like with me. My perfect day is 5 new business conversations. Now that can take any form. I could be at Starbucks. I could be in the grocery store. It doesn't matter where I'm at. But I need to be able to look back in the evening when I'm done. Did I have 5 business conversations? And inevitably, every single day I have way more than that, but new conversations, not just a conversation that I've continued with somebody else, but they have to be new. So that has really helped me to stay people driven. How can I help you? Looking for opportunities and those measurable goals every single day. And then I just times it out and say, well, if I do this per day, it's going to be this per week. Right. Per week leads to this per month, 20 something, whatever. So that has really helped me. And then the other thing, that helps me maintain that champion mentality is know my why. What is my why every single day so that I wake up, as you mentioned, very intentional about my day? My number one why is my wife. And waking up to know that I have another amazing opportunity to care for her, provide for her, and provide for our extended families and then our friends, show hospitality. That's what drives me every single day to be better, to get that education that you mentioned.
Right.
We're always educating ourselves too, but to be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. And I'm going to be better tomorrow as well than I was today, So I appreciate what you're saying. I really resonate with, your words there, what being a champion looks like, and then how you show it. This is my efforts. This is what I do to show that champion mentality. So that's really important. Now, one question I have is, you mentioned a pandemic. That thing threw us all for a loop. And a lot of people in my business, real estate too, left the business. Like you said, maybe this wasn't a good time the timing wasn't good. I have coworkers completely shut down their offices, and that was sad. But those of us that stayed in it, clawed, scratched, did everything that we could to stay in the business, benefited, and we benefited others. What adjustments or pivots have you had to make to stay successful, not only in beach volleyball, but now with your real estate career?
Yeah, great question. So I think it comes back to that resilience and adaptability. I just went to a panel recently with the top producers in the South Bay, and one of the things that they had mentioned was when times get tough, a lot of people do get going, but like you mentioned, staying in it and really staying positive and being focused on your long-term goals helps kind of weather that storm. Now, I understand not everyone has the ability to maybe have a commission-only job and survive without income for a certain amount of time. And in those scenarios, I'd recommend maybe figuring out a way to have some sort of alternative income so that you can support yourself.
For sure.
But when it comes to specifically like real estate-related industries, it's really just trying to be informed and proactive and working on building strong relationships. So the informed part, staying up to date with the latest market trends and best practices, and then building those relationships, like whether it's your colleagues at work, having those conversations, because if you're maybe struggling with something, they might be struggling with it too, or they might have ideas of how to help you through it. Communicating and building relationships like you do with clients, and then also with your mentors. So working on those 3 different relationships is going to help make it easier to go through those uncertain times, but it could also open up some unseen opportunities as well.
Yeah, you never know sometimes what's behind that door, what's going to be presented to you. But I watched you do this, and you position yourself well. You are in a good position for a door to open or for an opportunity to present itself. And when you sit home and woe is me, and I can't find a job, or no one's wanting to buy real estate from, you're not positioning yourself. When you get out, have business conversations with people. If things are a little slow, talk to a top producer. What are you doing? What did you do when you were in my position? Talk to people. Position yourself. Let people know you're interested in rolling up your sleeves and work, and then show it.
Right.
Next thing you know, opportunities do come knocking, and then it's a matter of maybe walking through an unexpected door, an unfamiliar territory. And I'm excited for you, Ian. You are going to help so many families find their dream of home ownership. And I have one last question that I know people want to have your thoughts on, is what advice would you have for someone who's a younger man than me? And there may be a lot of people out there wondering, should I even jump into the real estate field? Should I stay in it? What advice would you have for them to be successful?
Man, I don't think that's anything different than the things we've touched on, really making it less about you and more about others. And then from there, being proactive and trying to find ways to navigate through uncertain times. I kind of like to look at it in a kind of like a gamified kind of way, where, if I'm stuck on a level, which could be maybe like uncertain times, maybe that difficulty is on hard, and I might keep playing the level and keep losing, but each time I play the level and each time I lose, I'm figuring out how not to do it, and getting closer to that right way of doing it. And so just being able to pivot and adjust your game plan according to what's going on. If you're doing something and you're not finding success doing it, maybe it's time for you to think about trying different ways of helping others and succeeding in your business.
Yeah, well, those are all just super positive, super helpful suggestions and recommendations. And I would only add to that, never give up. Never give up. Those that give up, there's no opportunity. Those that keep grinding, those that keep working hard, those that keep a positive attitude despite challenging times, those that surround themselves. Look at the people you surround yourself with. Who are your top 5 friends you hang out with the most? Because that's who you are. You're going to be just like them in a lot of cases. So if they are hardworking people, good family men, and love people and want to help, that's who you are. And so association and who we choose to spend our very limited time with is so critical. And probably you've come into this situation too, Ian. I know I have. Over the years, I've had to look back and see, okay, is this person who I've known a long time, is this person still good for me? Now that I'm a married person, is this person still serve me so that I will be a better married man? And unfortunately, I've had to cut off some of those associates or limit my time with them severely. Has that ever been your experience?
Absolutely. I think we all have the options to be selective with who we surround ourselves with. And I've noticed over time that there are those relationships that are emotionally draining, can be financially draining, that you have to figure out a way. I don't really like to burn bridges personally, but figure out a way to kind of softly let them go. And again, I try to make it not about me or not about them, but more like, hey, I'm on a mission to do something. And so like, I have to put all of my time, focus, energy into working towards those goals. And like, if you're going to help me achieve those goals in a nice way, then sure, like I'm welcome to, bring you on board. But as far as like getting on the train, it's like, if you're not on the train, then I'm not going to bring you along, because we got to be headed towards the same direction.
Yeah, that's a really, really good way to put that. Well, Ian, the time that we've spent today, although brief, it's helped me not only see your tremendous growth as a person in the fields that you have shown so much passion in, that being professional beach volleyball and real estate and helping people. So I know those that will watch this will see even a more elevated side of you as you've spoke today. So thank you so much for taking time out. You came all the way down from the South Bay here to Orange County, and we're grateful for you. And you know what? We really look forward to doing everything we can to help launch your career even further and do what we can to send you some referrals.
Love that, John. And likewise, I'm so grateful that you had me down and shooting this podcast, and even just getting to do this interview with you. I have learned a lot. So I'm very grateful for you allowing me to come down and do this. So thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day, buddy.
You too.